Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Log Show here on WSJU Radio. My name is Logan, and for those of you tuning in, the guy to my right over here, is my boy Eric, joining the pod today.
What up?
As we have, for Tuesday, a lot of news. It seems like picking Tuesday was a good slot for me to pick this year because a lot of news. Last week, obviously, excuse me, but last week, obviously, we have the news of Mac Jones, the Robert Saleh firing, and all that. And then this week, more noise is being made across the league, starting with the New York Jets again being at the top of this list of so-called news. Well, actually not so-called news. Definite news with them getting star wide receiver from the Las Vegas Raiders. Davante Adams has officially been traded as of, I believe it was about 10:30 this morning Eastern time, if I remember correctly. Now, Davante Adams here, he will be shipped to the Jets for Eric, if I believe I have it right, it's Davante Adams and a sixth to the Jets for a third and like a seventh? Or is it just Davante for a third?
I have here Davante for a 2025 third-round pick and could go up to a second-round pick depending on if Adams is a first, second-team All-Pro or if the Jets make an AFC Championship game or Super Bowl, which maybe is a little bit more possible now.
That's the hope. If you're Woody Johnson, that's what you're looking at, right? You're looking at for this to be the solution. Obviously, you fire Saleh last week, which was, Eric, this is your first time on the show, so you didn't get to include your opinion in this last week. But, no. I was saying I wasn't a huge fan of the Saleh firing. I felt like it was a little early. Obviously, nobody's ever won with an interim head coach before. They had their good reasons. Saleh was one of the worst coaches, record-wise to them. Saleh, historically, was very terrible on offense, very terrible in the first half. But just to make that jump and then make a huge trade like this for Davante Adams, I do find very weird. But I think the big point of this trade is obviously getting Davante back with a quarterback that he knows. And not only knows, because a lot of people said that when he went to Vegas, it was a quarterback he knows, but a quarterback he has proven, at least in the pros, that he plays with well in Aaron Rodgers. Both of these dudes together in Green Bay produced absolute magic on the field back in, I believe Davante left in 2021 was his last year. So Davante leaves about 4 seasons ago. But in his time in Green Bay, he played 116 games there, had over 8,000 yards, over 70 touchdowns in his time there. Over those, I believe it was about 7 seasons in Green Bay. So and him and Aaron were I think everybody knows this. They were just slowly built so impressively. You had Jordy Nelson and all that for those of you who grew up watching football and watching those Packers teams. They had the Jordy Nelsons and those types of players. But now you watch Davante Adams really grow with Aaron. You really did back in Green Bay. He did very good. I believe all of his career highs are in a Packers jersey, if I have that correct. In one way or another. And then not only that, just the proficiency that they had together in Green Bay was something unheard of. Obviously, Davante left because he wanted to prove that he didn't need Aaron. But when Davante was in Green Bay, him and Aaron were amazing against the blitz. In that time of him in Green Bay, they're the top duo against the blitz before. So we've seen this success before, but I guess that is, we could throw out as many stats we want. And as Eric, you told me before, you're more of a baseball fan than you are a football fan. So maybe your opinion is more valued in this than someone who's going to sit here like me and look at a bunch of stats. You feel like this is a solution?
I've got a few ideas. if you look at the original signing of when the Jets got Aaron Rodgers and they brought in Nathaniel Hackett, you have to remember that Nathaniel Hackett was the offensive coordinator for 3 years when Devontae Adams was at Green Bay, and in those 3 years, each of those 3 seasons, the Green Bay Packers had won exactly 13 games, made the playoffs, and so I think this is a great addition. Now you do have to say that the Jets' offense is what, in my opinion, ultimately led to Salah's dismissal.
110%.
The defense has been holding up. Listen, they haven't been great, but they've been holding up. They've been doing their part, and I think that this is huge for the Jets. I think that this reuniting of the three of Rodgers, Adams, and Hackett could lead to something. But also this is what led to the Jets getting Nathaniel Hackett in the first place. Is them
wanting to build this
structure and the system around Rodgers. Which, listen, last year was a fluke essentially in the way that Aaron Rodgers got injured. I mean that has almost never happened before, and so hopefully you can see that fully come into fruition this year.
No, yeah, I completely agree with you. And you brought up that Hackett connection. Obviously, that is part of the reason why Aaron went there in the first place. A reason why it was so attractive to a player like Devontae Adams. I mean, Hackett was there from 19 to 21. In that time there, in 2020, the Packers led the league in scoring. In 2022, I believe they were top 5. Or in 2021, I believe. Over that time, they were third in red zone offense. And Devontae Adams, since coming into the league, has the most red zone touchdowns as a receiver. Counting his time at the Raiders, just throughout his career so far, since coming into the league, has the most red zone touchdowns.
I mean, if you're looking for a threat for the Jets offense, you got it with Devontae Adams.
And I feel like what a lot of people aren't including in this, which I do find the most interesting out of this situation, is I think a lot of people feel in the situation that this is going to hinder the production of Garrett Wilson, where I think it could do the exact opposite. Because now you're taking Garrett Wilson and, like, let's say you're the Broncos 2 weeks ago, for example. Where if you look back at that game, you had Garrett Wilson going up against arguably the best cornerback in the league in Surtain. And Surtain did a very good job. Garrett Wilson had 5 receptions for 50 yards, I think, which is not a bad game. But you're trying to tell me you could now have Garrett Wilson on whoever that cornerback 2 is, whatever team they're playing against. I feel like he's only going to do well there. He's going to be able to find open space. And you have Devontae Adams, who's just such a good route runner. And I don't know if you watched the game last night, but, like, you take that game last night, for example, and I think that game proves such a good example of why I think Devontae is a huge piece of this Jets offense now is Aaron Rodgers, especially now in his late career where he's gotten to this hippie Aaron Rodgers, this ayahuasca trip taken, perk Rodgers era that has hit us. I feel like a big thing with Aaron has been connections with his receivers. You saw that after Devontae left with those young guys. He sat there and constantly complained about they're not running the routes right. It happened in the Jets. It happened literally last night. Last night, Aaron came out in an interview and said in the post-game press conference, he literally he took Mike Williams, looked at the bus, and threw Mike Williams as far under it as possible.
I don't think anything from Mike Williams' body survived after that throwing under the bus.
No, yeah, like, actually, I think the damage was so bad that he's on the trade block right now after the Devontae Adams trade. I saw a report earlier today that the Jets are now looking to ship Mike Williams, which is kind of funny after what Aaron said. But yeah, like, the repertoire and the communication that these two already have together, I think, is going to become such a big factor. Aaron has talked about this on Pat McAfee a lot, which is the only real eye into Aaron that we have these days is when he goes on the Pat McAfee show. And he said it a lot back then when he first started to go on, when he was in Green Bay and those situations were happening. And he was like, Yeah, me and Tay just went out there, and we saw they were in cover two. So Tay looked at me and patted his helmet twice, and I just like to have that communication back for Aaron Rodgers
Huge.
is danger, especially in a year where it seems like he's been struggling, especially on that sense of like there's a lot of miscommunication on these option routes on a lot of different stuff. So I don't know. I think that situation is really interesting. The Jets looking forward to, I think, are going in to their best part of their schedule coming up. I mean, they played the Bills last night, but coming up, if we're talking about the future when it comes to Week 7 and on, you have the Steelers in Pittsburgh, the Patriots in New England, the Texans at home. You're in Arizona. You're home against the Colts. You're home against Seattle. I would say you're sitting here going into Week 7 as the Jets. So you got what, 10 games left, right? You get 17 games. I would say if you're the Jets, you have 2, maybe 3 more difficult games. Like realistically, you have Seattle at home, you have Houston, and then you have Buffalo. Besides that, like you got Miami twice. Miami's nothing anymore.
They're not as much of a threat as
they're just so
injury at the beginning of the year.
You're in Jacksonville, which, I mean,
it's looking bleak.
Yeah, it's
looking really dire.
And that's December 15th. What's even worse for the Jaguars in that situation is I don't even know if the Jaguars are going to have a head coach by that point. Like, that's how bad that's looking. You got the Colts in MetLife, where that one gets interesting because, like, AR's AR, is he going to be healthy? But then would you rather play against Anthony Richardson or would you rather play against Joe Flacco? But, like, the Jets are in a very good spot. If they could win, if they could win, 8 more games, you win the division? Even a while, like, I don't know. Do you consider the season a success if you end up in the wild card? Or do you have to win the division this year?
I think I don't think you need to win the division. Listen, I know that the division is not as strong as it used to be, or even as strong as people would have assumed it to be at the beginning of the year.
And now the Bills just got Amari Cooper, which we're going to touch on in a little bit. But
and I mean, we will touch on that, but geez, Josh Allen needs some help up there. And this could make it an interesting finish to the end of the season.
Yeah, definitely. I am short on time today. Sorry you guys for starting late. Tried to do something nice today. Let someone run a little over on their show. But, we're pounding through. So I do want to move on, though, to what we did just bring up, is that Amari Cooper trade that also happened today. So just across all all forms, really, if you really break it down, it's just like this Amari Cooper trade, especially, I do find it extremely interesting that this Amari Cooper trade also comes on the same day as this Davante Adams trade, because you brought it up there. I mean, definitely to say Josh Adams needed help, I think is
an understatement.
No, I don't think it is.
You don't think so?
No, because I think it is dragging. I think saying that going into week 1, I definitely agree with heavy. But I also think what I'm about to say is the reason why this Amari Cooper trade is so good is these young weapons have started to come into their own in Buffalo. You've seen Keon Coleman start to get a lot of touches and a lot of plays. Shakir is making a lot of plays down there in Buffalo. You have Kincaid, obviously. You have, Dawson Knox. So you have these young weapons that have started to come in their own a little bit, and then you take Amari Cooper where, you saw this as you were watching it, came in. I found about the trade, came in here, started watching Amari Cooper film because I really wanted to break it down. Really wanted to see, is the age bug starting to get Amari Cooper? Is it just Deshaun Watson? And it is a good mix of the both. Now, I will say, Amari Cooper has 53 targets this year, according to NFL Pro. I would say about 20 of those targets actually reached the man. Now, there were a good handful. Amari Cooper easily has 10 drops this year. I will say. From what I saw, easily has 5 to 10 drops this year that you could argue. But you put him in an offense now where Keon Coleman's picking it up. Hopefully you get James Cook back. The offense, Josh Allen has been on a tear as of the past 3 weeks.
Sure.
And now you insert someone in Amari Cooper who's a vet. And you're telling me, I mean, realistically, with the way he's been playing, Amari Cooper needs what? Half of what Stephon Diggs was last year to be able to put in that big of an impact?
I mean, Stephon Diggs is a huge piece, and it was rough at the beginning of the year when they traded him away. And I think there is some validity to what you're saying, where the young guys have come in and stepped up, but it did look bleak at the beginning. But this trade is huge. Amari Cooper is a well-known and well-respected wide receiver that's going to come in here, and Josh Allen will do what Josh Allen does. He'll find a way to get him the ball. He'll find a way to move the offense up. And like I said before, I think these two trades coinciding on the same day is going to be very interesting and could be a turning point to both of their seasons, and we'll see how it finishes.
I do think it's interesting because also, Amari Cooper, obviously, with the way the Browns have been playing, the way Deshaun Watson has been playing, his name definitely came up as soon as the trade deadline started to get close in rumors across a bunch of different, fan pages, this and that, all over social media. He was definitely talked about as a trade piece that some teams wanted. But I do feel like with the Bills looking the way they do, even coming off a win against this Jets team, where in that game, with both of them just getting a star wide receiver, we very much saw two teams that are very good, that are just as equally good as each other, that have had two things to have the season go almost complete opposite ways for them. And, you see this now in Buffalo. I feel like you almost had a situation where they were looking for a wide receiver, but Tay getting traded earlier to the Jets made them go, let's go get a wide receiver. I feel like at first going into even going into today, before this Davante Adams trade actually went through, because there were so many teams obviously in on it, I think the Bills were taking a step back and they were sitting there going, we want a wide receiver, but we don't need a wide receiver. Mm-hmm. And then the Jets got Davante and they go, let's go get someone.
We have to make a move. Yeah.
So, and I think Amari fitting into this team is perfect for him and where he is in his career too. Because like I said, Amari Cooper does not need to step into this offense and have 6 receptions for 110 yards. He only needs 3 receptions for 60 yards to make
that big of an impact.
Yeah, to make this impact that's going to get the attention away from Shakir, away from Curtis Samuel, away from Keon Coleman, James Cook. So I don't know. I mean, the Bills, do you have their schedule up?
I do not, but just one more thing before we get to the schedule. I mean, the Bills, they get Cooper and a 2025 6th-round draft pick, and they are sending the Browns a 3rd-round pick and a 7th-round pick in 2026. I mean, who gets the better deal, do you think? Do you think the Jets got the better deal, or do you think the Bills get the better deal in both these trades today?
I think if we're going to look at this situation, I'm going to put this situation in the situation that everybody trying to trade for Davante Adams was, which is this. If I'm the Jets, as much as I feel like I needed Davante Adams, I am sitting there going, if I'm the Raiders, I'm saying Stephon Diggs just went for a second. I just got a second for Stephon Diggs. And then Amari Cooper went for a 3rd. Am I going to try to say that Davante Adams is in between those two guys? Because I think he's better. He's just as good, if not better, than Stephon Diggs. So if I'm the Jets, I'm feeling like I got away with something here.
Okay.
Less than I am if I'm the Bills. Because I feel like Amari Cooper, if I'm going to say Stephon Diggs is worth a 2nd, I'd say Amari Cooper is worth a 3rd. I think that's a good move from Cleveland. Especially Cleveland in a situation where, I did want to talk about Week 6, but I'll just, for those of you guys who tune in on the YouTube and stuff, I'll just make, Thursday will be extra long. We'll have a fun day that day. But, I feel like, yeah, like Amari Cooper is worth a third, and the Browns, you look at this situation, getting a third for Amari Cooper in a situation where, like, if you're the Browns, it was clear that, like, you have to hit this reset button because your best players are all up there in age outside of Myles Garrett. So, I don't know. I think if I'm looking at it from those two teams, I'm happier if I'm the Jets right now because not only did I get Devontae Adams, I got Devontae Adams for less than what the Raiders were asking for, and I got him back with Aaron Rodgers. I didn't just get Devontae Adams to my team. Sure. I got Devontae Adams back with Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Shall we do a quick look at the schedule before we change gears?
I did just pull it up. So coming up, I mean, they have Tennessee. See, their test is going to become, this is good for this Bills team, though. They have Tennessee this week. They're in Seattle next week, which is tough. But then they're home against the Dolphins, and then they're in Indianapolis. So that's a nice 4-week stretch you have to get this together.
Yeah.
After that, you have
KC.
You have a 4-game stretch of KC, San Francisco, the Rams, and the Lions. So 3 of those games are top-tier opponents. So that's where the test is.
And in between the KC and San Fran game, there is a bye week. So, I mean, that could help depending on how the 4 games before the KC game goes. I mean, if they take
if they go, is huge in between.
If they go 2-2 between Tennessee, Seattle, Miami, Indianapolis, and then lose against Kansas City, they need that bye week. But if they're rolling, I mean, obviously this is complete foreshadowing. But if they're rolling, that bye week might be a detriment. Who knows? But there is a bye week.
I don't know.
I
think out of any team now, if I'm going based off schedule, not based off placement of week. I'm going based off schedule. If I'm a football team and you're going to look at me and go, yeah, so you're going to play the Chiefs and then the Niners, but we're going to put your bye week in between, I'm thanking the football gods.
Yeah. No, I agree.
To get that extra week to prepare. But we are running out of time here because I did start a little late, so I do want to talk about this while I have my one of my, obviously, you guys who have tuned in, you guys know Frank and Ryan as part of my baseball expertise, but this man right here is my other half. So,
Connoisseur.
The ALCS has started. Mets currently at a 1-1 series.
Let's go Mets!
Coming back to Queens. They play tomorrow night against the Dodgers, while the Yankees up 1-0 after an impressive victory last night. In the Bronx, play Cleveland tonight. Who's got the starts tonight?
It is Garrett Cole for the Yankees and Tanner Bybee for the Guardians.
Real Cole?
Yes, Garrett Cole.
That's on what? That's on like what? 4-day rest? Because he pitched a lot in that game 5 too.
Yeah.
Or like game 4, but
they're good. Yep. The Yankees will send A's.
I guess that game 4 was a week ago. That's like 7 days rest at this point.
If the Guardians are going to get one, it has to be today. You have your ace on the mound. Listen, I know Garrett Cole is Garrett Cole, and playoff Garrett Cole is a completely different animal, but you have your ace on the mound. You have to get one today. I
mean, if we really look at it, playoff Garrett Cole is definitely a different monster, but like Yankees playoff Garrett Cole is different than
playoff Garrett Cole.
No, I'm saying Yankees playoff Garrett Cole is different than Astros playoff Garrett Cole.
No,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I see.
He got hit in that game 1. He definitely got hit in that game. Like he's been hit. Astros Garrett Cole couldn't be hit in the playoffs. Yankees Garrett Cole
I get chills.
Is good, but he's been hit.
I think and I mean he's been good down the stretch. He's been very good throughout the playoffs, but I mean Garrett Cole is Garrett Cole. Coming into the year, he was considered the best pitcher in baseball, which is completely reasonable. And I think going out of the year, he'll still be up there. I don't doubt it.
I don't know. I feel like at the end of the day for the Yankees, what you're looking at in a series right now is a series that, one, you can't lose.
Nope.
When it comes to the media
Nope.
sense, you can't lose.
Nope.
When it comes to a Boone sense, you can't lose.
Nope.
But
when it comes to a realistic baseball sense, you can't lose.
But when it comes to a team sense, Judge has to step up.
Absolutely.
This can't continue. Like Stanton's been playing so well. Stanton's been playing well. Glaber's been playing surprisingly well in the playoffs. Verdugo's been on and off, but it's been good enough. Like, Soto was okay in the Royals series, but has started off hot. Obviously, had that home run last night. So like, the stars are stepping up for the Yankees, but there's one glaring 6'7", 200-pound hole.
And when that, when Aaron Judge gets firing,
that day, if it's this year, which I really hope it is, but that day where it finally snaps and I hear the crack of the bat off a pitch and Aaron sends one 400 feet in the playoffs, I'll be so happy.
When that Yankees lineup,
I was happy when he hit a double. He hit a double in Game 4, and I was like, "Oh my God, Aaron Judge got on base."
I mean, listen. When that is an if this season, but if that Aaron Judge bat gets going, I think the Yankees sweep the series. And I'm a Mets fan, but if the Mets make it, I think it's a tough day for any of our Mets pitchers.
I don't know. I will say this, and this is the friendliest I've been with Mets fans in a while because I've grown up and I'm not just biased anymore, and I know sports. I know the way this goes.
Thank you.
If I'm the Yankees, I need the Dodgers. If the Mets make the the Mets right now are one of those teams where if they make it, they're winning.
Cinema.
It's just because, it's one of those moments where, it's not, right? I go back to this where I think of the Mets, and I feel like a lot of Mets fans are thinking of this right now, so you could remind me.
Talk to me.
2012, when you guys lost to the Royals.
2015.
Or 2015, that's what it was.
2015.
2015, when you guys lost to the Royals in the World Series.
Thanks for reminding me.
But what I'm saying is that Mets team going into the playoffs had high expectations. That Mets team was supposed to kind of get there. In a sense, if I remember correctly. And I'm not saying this Mets team wasn't. Obviously, you guys have a high payroll and stuff, but, there was a point. Even in the Brewers series alone, 2 batters before Pete Alonso, Mets fans were not even just Mets fans. Everyone in America was like, all right, the Mets, good job. You squeezed in. It was cool. But no, they pop up and they do it again. And then they've done it. You look at this Dodgers series. You get routed 9-0 in Game 1. So what would be the most normal thing to happen? Oh, this team's been on a run. They ran into the Dodgers. They got smacked Game 1. They're going to slow down. They go, oh, no, you beat us 9-0. Here we go. What was it, 7-2 in Game 2?
7-2. And not to mention Francisco Lindor starts off that game with an 8-pitch at-bat and waits for his pitch, gets his cutter down the middle, and goes, smacks it, sets the tone.
So, that's the thing about this Mets team is as much as a Yankee fan, as much as a New Yorker, I'd love that series. As much as a Yankee fan, I'd love the chance for me to have that over Mets fans for the rest of my life. I also feel like as a sports fan, realizing if there's one year I don't want that to happen, it's probably this year. Because this Mets team is too on fire, especially against a team that has terrible bullpen pitching. A Mets team that throughout the game their heartbeat goes like this. The Yankees does the exact opposite. The Yankees slow down and fall apart late games. The Mets do so it's not, I don't know. I don't think that's a good matchup for the Yankees. I think they want the Dodgers.
Let's go Mets.
Let's go Yankees. That is where I'm going to call it today. Sorry for the short show, guys. Some technical difficulties early. Some stuff with the studio has been going on. Thank you guys on the YouTube for tuning in. I don't know what's going on Thursday. I don't think there's much going on before or after my show. So I'm going to try to squeeze in, maybe extend the show a little bit, have a nice little special for what is Thursday actually is technically the start of the St. John's basketball preseason.
Yes, it is.
As they travel to Rutgers on Thursday.
Rutgers.
And then we got Huncho here, Quavo, coming to campus on Friday. So in honor of tip-off, I'm going to try to get a fun show in. But besides that, thank you, Eric, for hopping on.
It's been a pleasure. I'll be back.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in on the YouTube. Thank you for everybody for listening. I'm Logan. This is WSJU. Peace out.